Sade sarvadukhanam Anir asyopajayate Prasana chetaso hyashu Buddhihi paryapatishtate Prasade sarvadukhanam Anirasyopajaayate Prasanna chetaso yashu Buddhi paryavadishtate.
Anybody else? No? Not done? Mataji's? Anybody? Try.
Try Mataji.
Prasade sarvadukhanam
Anirasyopajaayate
Prasanna chetaso yasu Buddhi paryavadishtate.
Okay, word-to-word translations. Prasade. On achievement of the causeless mercy of the Lord.
On achievement of the causeless mercy of the Lord.
Sarva.
Of all.
Dukkhana. Material miseries.
Hanihi.
Destruction. Asya.
Is.
Upajayate.
Takes place.
Prasanna. Chetasaha. The happy-minded. He. Certainly. Ashu. Very soon. Buddhihi. Intelligence. Pari. Sufficiently. Avadishtate. Becomes established. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. I'm going to read the next verse also. This I will just chant. Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shantir shantasya kuthas sukham. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Purport. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, 529. This verse is Bhoktaram Yadhyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Yadbhama Shanti Vichati. That when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, He is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that He is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can only be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manomishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swatarantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Radha Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagaranatam Vidantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagarana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha
हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। I'm also going to be chanting a few verses to Krishna because he's here. So, extended verse chanting before. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnu Jalantam Sarvadhomukam Nrsimham Vishnam Bhadram Nityoruktirnamamiham Shri Nrsimha Jai Jai Nrsimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Pradiga Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Jase Ahara Vibhava Vajranaka Jadam Shrakarma Shyan Randhaya Namo Rasagasa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuishtha Om Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Purushaya Mahatmane Hare Adbhuta Simhaya Brahmane Paramatmane Bhagishayasya Vadane Lakshmiryasya Cha Bakshasi Yasyaste Hridaye Samvittam Nrisimham Maham Bhaje Prahlada Hridaya Hladam Bhakta Vidya Vidaranam Sharadinduruchim Vande Parindravadaram Harim Vidikshu Dikshu Damadasa Mandadam Bahir Bhagavan Narasimha Bhavayalloka Bhayam Svanena Sute Sagrasta Samasta Tejaha Satyam Vidatum Nijabritya Bhashitam Vyaptim Chabhute Shvakireshu Chatmanaha Adrishyatam Yadbhuta Rupam Udvan Stambhe Sabhayam Namrigam Namanusham Garjantam Garjayantam Nijabuja Padaram Spotayantam Harantam Dingantam Tapayantam Divi Bhuvijam Shepayantam Kshipantam Krandantam Roshayantam Dishi Dishi Satatam Samharantam Parantam Vikshantam Purnayantam Karanikarashatay Divya Simham Namami. Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Mande Balopiyatat Grahat Kare Nana Mata Graha Vyaptam Siddhanta Sagaram. So this is a interesting verse that appears. These two verses appear just after the famous series of verses where Krishna speaks about entanglement. So how does you get entangled? First, dhyayato vishyan pumsa sangasteshu bhajayate. First he gets the conditioned living entity first becomes attached, or he first meditates upon a particular object of the senses, and then he becomes attached. Then from that attachment, lust develops. From lust, what comes?
Anger.
Anger. And then from anger, so yeah. So then from krodha bhavati sammoha, bewilderment. After anger comes bewilderment. Then after bewilderment, what happens? Fall into the material pool because the intelligence is completely lost. One loses all sense of discrimination. So, and after that, Krishna says here that one can get prasadam adhikachati. The verse before what we read, prasade sarvadukkanam. He says, but by the mercy of the Lord, one can become free from attachment and aversion and control his senses. In fact, he says by becoming free from attachment and aversion, controlling the senses, one gets the mercy of the Lord. And then what happens when one gets the mercy of the Lord? Prasade sarvadukkhana. That when one gets the mercy of the Supreme Lord, one gets the mercy of Krishna, sarvadukkanam hanihi. All the miseries, the threefold miseries. What are the threefold miseries? You have miseries inflicted by our own mind, adhyatmika, adi bhautika, inflicted by other living entities, and then adi daivika, inflicted by nature or the demigods. So he says, hanihi, sarvadukkanam hanihi. This gets destroyed. It's gone. Hani, asyo bhajayate. Prasanna chetasaha. So chetasaha, Citta is consciousness. So that consciousness becomes prasanna, becomes happy. So the word here, Prabhupada uses the word prasanna chetasa, of the happy minded. Such a nice word.
happy-minded people. So prasanna chetaso yahu buddhi paryavatishtate, and the intelligence becomes well established. One's transcendental knowledge and intelligence becomes well established. So this is the mercy of the Lord. That when one gets the mercy of the Lord, one gets this. Then the next verse is extremely important. That nasti buddhir ayuktasya na chayuktasya bhavana. That buddhi ayuktasya, that the buddhi, intelligence, it's not enough if you just one is very intelligent. Because they're very intelligent people. I just saw a recent post by Elon Musk, where he admits that he's working 7 days a week for 10 hours every day. 10 hours every day, 7 days a week. Who? The world's richest man. What kind of a life is that? Yes, from a material platform, he's very intelligent. He's sending space rockets. He's manufactured Tesla cars and this ugly cyber truck and other things like that. And his goal is, he says, what is it? He says that here's one, Occupy Mars. It's his t-shirt. That's his t-shirt. Occupy Mars.
He also made Trump president.
Yeah. That's his most significant contribution to life. So what kind of a life is that? You work 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. What life is this? No. It was with Shyam Sundar Prabhu and we were going to this, what is it? Bell Park? Is that what it's called?
Bell Park.
Bell Park. So, Prabhu is feeding prasad of nuts, walnuts, sunflower nuts, seeds, and like this to all those squirrels. They get supplied by the mercy of Krishna. Somehow they know, like even if you're sitting in the bench and this and that, they come, they approach because they know him. And how do they know that he's there? Because Paramatma within the heart is directing. Krishna is supplying all these living entities. He's supplying all these living entities with food, and they don't work. They don't all they go run around. They're very territorial. These the chipmunks. They're very territorial, but they don't start. You don't see. Suddenly because they're territorial, you don't see a genocide of chipmunks. But you see genocide in human society because humans won't let others live. Everybody has to be very territorial. And because of being territorial, Prabhupada calls this dog mentality. Dog mentality. So what is this? You come to the border. Who are you? Where are you coming from? Why are you coming to this country? Right? Just when we came into the Canada, where are you coming? Where are you coming from? What do you do in America? Because we drove in from the United States. So Prabhupada says it's dog mentality. And Prabhupada said, what is this United Nations? If they have the mentality of cats and dogs, they fight like cats and dogs. That's all they do. So they do in the United Nations. All they do is they increase the number of flags. Where is it united? It's more divided. More and more flags are coming. So where is the unity? Where is the unity? Prabhupada said, whereas in Vedic times, under Yudhishthira, Maharaj Yudhishthira, there was one flag. The whole world was ruled under one flag of Maharaj Yudhishthira, under pure devotee of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So, this mere intelligence is actually useless because mundane intelligence makes one worse than the animals. The chipmunk, materially, is not as intelligent as Elon Musk, but its life is of a better quality than Elon Musk. Because what is this nonsense working like donkey? Donkey doesn't. It's an insult to donkey. The donkey also doesn't work like that. So, no, it's true. It's true. In Bharuch, in Gujarat, Bharuch, somehow they have a lot of donkeys there. I don't know. I never saw many donkeys in other. Bharuch is actually a Vedic place. Bhrigu Kutch. So it's the place where Bhrigu Muni performed. Yeah. Oh, it's there. Some people say it's Kerala.
They met.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Bhrigu Kutch.
Because he was
So the donkeys, you see the donkeys roaming around the street. They don't have anything to do. Somehow they let loose. They're roaming around the street. They find their food like the cows find their food and everything find their food. Do they survive? They don't die. So, mundane intelligence useless. So, nasti buddhi ayuktasya. If intelligence is not transformed into that of a transcendental nature by Krishna consciousness, because only Krishna consciousness can transform the mundane to spiritual. So, if that intelligence is not transformed, nasti buddhi ayuktasya. And then there's another thing. Na chayuktasya bhavana. And if one doesn't have the attitude of devotional service to Krishna, so Prabhupada says here that neither transcendental, one is not connected with neither transcendental intelligence or steady mind, means one's consciousness, one's chitti, one's thinking, one's meditation. Mind is used for meditation. And that, if that is not connected to Krishna, so neither if your intelligence is not Krishna conscious, nor is your mind absorbed in Krishna conscious, thinking of Krishna. Na bhavayata shanti. It is not possible to achieve this. Na bhavayata shanti. Then, ashantasya kuta sukam. This is like a sutra. Ashantasya kuta sukam. Where is the possibility, where is the question of happiness without peace? If you are not peaceful, you cannot be happy. If you are not peaceful, you cannot be happy. Why? Why can you not be happy without being peaceful? Any thoughts? Why is that the case? Why can you not be happy without being peaceful? If you're not peaceful, you're going to do something that will make you unhappy. Okay. Yeah. But at least when I'm not doing something that's unhappy, am I happy? If I'm not peaceful? No, everybody's saying no, but why? Of course you're going to say no, you're not going to disagree with Bhagavad Gita, but why?
Peace is something internal, like if we are not internally happy, then we cannot express it externally.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask this in this way. What is the opposite of peace?
Misery.
Huh? Misery is the opposite of happiness.
Chaos.
So, chaos, conflict, disturbance. Right? If you're not peaceful, you are disturbed. So, disturbance comes also because of agitation. So, when you're disturbed, you're agitated. You're triggered by different things. Different things tend to disturb you. So, when you say you're disturbed, it means there's some external thing that's affecting, or it may be internal, but the thing is that there's some factor that is disturbing the peace. It's causing agitation. So you have peaceful water. You have, say there's a peaceful, there's clear water in a pond, and then you take your hand.
We have lakes.
You have lakes. And then you take your hand or something, or you throw something into it, then immediately there's agitation. So there's disturbance. So if the mind is like that, then there is disturbance. And even though in that disturbance, you may be able to seek sources of happiness. You may take intoxicants. You may go and watch a movie. There's so many things. You can write it.
The other thing is that only when the mind is peaceful, we hear Paramatma.
Yeah. Only when the mind is peaceful, you can hear Paramatma. It's a good point, because otherwise, your mind is talking too much. It's too much noise there. So you can't hear what you can't get guidance from the Supreme Lord.
Actually, Krishna said that.
Yes. So if one is disturbed, there is no possibility of happiness, because even in the middle of your external so-called doses of pleasure, the pleasure is going to end. And when it ends, what do they call it after you're very drunk? You drink a lot. And what happens? Hungover, you know? Maybe around 2 pints. So,
Oh, most of us have actually never drunk.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's called a hangover. So you're hungover. Means like, it's this, you crash. Because everything leaves, and it just
If you have a lot of
miserable.
If you have a lot of corruption and similar.
So lots of sugar also does the same thing. You eat too much sweetened or gulab jamun. So there's a crash, and in Vedic times, there's one kind of punishment that kings give to people. What is this kind of punishment? Is the thief or miscreant is taken on a boat in the middle of a lake like this, or a river. And then they tie something to his legs, something heavy like a rock or something. And then the two guards or whoever, they take him and they dunk him into the water. Put him underwater just until he's about to lose his breath and die. And they pull him up. And then, he's grasping for breath. And then wait till he's caught a little breath. Then they push him back in. Then, same thing. He's about to lose his life, he's about to lose his mind also. And they pull him back. And they keep doing this. Can you imagine how it would be? The guy would prefer dying. He would prefer to die instead of going through this. Which means, even though there is misery and relief from misery, the fact that you have to go through it constantly. People give some. Have you heard of this? You must have heard of this. Sir, how can you experience happiness without experiencing some suffering? You have to suffer, you have to experience some misery, you have to experience some suffering, otherwise how will you experience happiness? Nonsense theory. According to that theory, then that means the more miserable you are, the more happy you will be. Correct? So that means, because I love you so much, and I want to really make you happy, I want to take my slippers and beat you nicely for, not slippers, slipper is usually proper as boots. Kick him with spiked boots. Prabhupada used such animated language. Boot in face. Kick them with spiked boots. Prabhupada is a scientist. So I think this is nonsense theory. According to that theory, then the more miserable you make someone, the more chance they have to become happy. They will experience it. So you'll feel little happy. Otherwise you won't feel that kind of happiness. So it's a nonsense theory. It's a complete absurd theory. Happiness, you don't have to be miserable. You don't have to suffer to experience happiness. In fact, that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Mrityu Jaravadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshana is one of the aspects of knowledge. He says Janma Mrityu Dukkha Doshanu Darshana, to see the dosha in the misery that is caused by birth, death, old age and disease. This dosha, the fault, the defect. The defect is that in this material world, even though it may seem that sometimes you can be happy, sometimes you will be sad, and technically in this mandala that we are in, it's supposed to be 50% happiness and 50% distress. In the heavenly planets, there is more material happiness than distress, and in the hellish conditions, there is more distress than happiness. And technically, this is supposed to be 50-50. But in spite of that, it's actually miserable because the combination of this is simply miserable. Even you may have a bowl of very amazing payasam, sweet rice, very tasty kheer. You may have. But if you mix it with sand, even if it's 50% sand and 50% sweet rice, it's horrible. Do not forget 50% sand. Even if a few particles of sand is there, immediately you just spit it out. So, Krishna makes this point that the actual jnani, one who is intelligent, jnani in that sense is one who is intelligent, who has bahunam janmanam ante jnanava ma prapadyate, is the jnani who has surrendered to him, is actually a devotee. That intelligent person will not be interested in happiness mixed with misery. Because happiness mixed with misery means disturbance. Disturbance. But changing conditions are there. It's disturbance. It's disturbance. If the weather is always the same, it's nice. If the weather keeps changing, it's miserable. And in fact, Shastra, it said that one of the reasons why India is also weather is starting to be quite crazy. But previously, Iceland like India, they didn't need to check the weather. The season means this is what happens. When the grandma wants to make papads, you go and dry the papads. She doesn't have to worry that it's going to rain, because she can happily dry the papads. Sun, you can dry the chilies, you can dry everything. You make your masala. Winter time is raining, and that's all it's going to happen. That's the only thing that will be there. It's just going to rain. Not that it is happy. There is misery in heat. There is misery in rain. There is misery in cold. It's material world. What else can you expect? But if people are living piously, this is pious, then there is less disturbance. This is what we learn from Shastra. In fact, it is said that Prabhu Maharaj, Bhagavatam, such a powerful ruler. He is, of course, incarnation, partial incarnation, Shaktiavash, avatar, Krishna. But by his rule, he eradicated the threefold miseries for all his citizens of his country. It's also said of Prabhupada liked this verse very much. Shishichu sma brajan gavan payaso yes vadir muda. I forgot the first two lines. Krishna.
The one that power through the...
Yeah. So basically, in Yudhishthira Maharaj's kingdom, everything was so much in abundance that the earth was producing gems, stones, minerals, metals, all kinds of things in abundance. And the cows were so happy. Shishichu sma vrajam gavan. That they payaso dasvadir muda. That the payasa, the milk, payaha, was pouring from their udders, even without anybody milking them, and they were wetting the ground, the earth. This description is also given when in the Govardhan, just before the Govardhan pastime happens, where Krishna, Balaram has stolen Brahma has stolen all the cows and cowherd boyfriends of Krishna, and Krishna has expanded himself to all the cows and cowherd boys. And one day Balaram is coming with Krishna, and they are at the base of the Govardhan hill, and the cowherd men and the cows are at the top of the Govardhan hill. And the cows see their calves. They're not their calves, it's actually Krishna. They develop so much affection that they skip, run, jump, and race down from the top of the Govardhan hill down to the and the description is given that their legs were joined. So it's they're jumping so high that their front legs and rear legs joined, jump like that, and milk is pouring down their udders even before. And the cowherd men come, they're angry, but then they see the cowherd boys, they become very affectionate. And Balaram says, it's really unusual. Then Krishna begins, actually, this happened. Brahma stole all my friends. So, anyways, point is, happiness mixed with distress is disturbance. And such a disturbance can never lead to peace, because if there's disturbance, because of disturbance, one cannot be happy. So this, so therefore, Prabhupada is saying here, disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor and friend of everyone and everything, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. This is a very nice line. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. Whenever we feel disturbed, Prabhupada is saying, what is disturbance? What is the cause of disturbance? We don't have an ultimate goal. Or we think we have it, but we forgot it. That's what happens to practicing devotees. My mind is disturbed. But why disturbed? Because we have forgotten that Bhaktaram Yajna Tapasam. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Bhaktaram Yajna Tapasam. Of what? Of all penances, of all sacrifices. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the master of everything. Even your misery, even this disturbance that we are experiencing, it cannot happen without His action. Nothing can happen without His action. It's not possible. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Sugridam, He is also the best friend. Sugridam, Sarvabhutanam, of not just of Arjuna, but of everyone, including us. Jnatva, one who knows that, Shanti, he attains peace. So, and to exhibit that one is one, and Prabhupada says that therefore one should have a relationship with Krishna. But you see how Krishna is. Krishna doesn't have relationships that are compromised. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses multiple times, he uses the word Ananya. Ananyas cheta satatam Yomam smarati nitya saha tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yoginaha. That he says that one who thinks of me, for them I am easily attained to the process of devotional service. Then Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janav paryupasate tesham nitya bhiyutanam yogakshemam mahamiham. That for one who constantly remembers me, constantly thinks of me, ye janav paryupasate tesham nitya bhiyutanam, he is always worshipping me in devotional service. For him, I preserve what he has and I carry what he has. Yoga kshemam, I give kshema. This word kshemam, it's a very popular word in South India. Means that it's not just well, but are you well in an all-rounded sense? Are you fully well? Not are you just happy, because I may be happy right now, but so many things may be happening that are not good for me. But kshema refers to when one is well in all respects. And Krishna gives yoga kshema, means that he takes care of the one's Krishna consciousness. And that means, Prabhupada also states in the Bhagavad Gita that material well-being follows spiritual well-being. Spiritual well-being is followed by material well-being. Means that if one is spiritually well, means that one understands that Krishna is the protector, he is the provider, he will provide. Maybe not in the way that we are expecting, but he will take care of us. That person actually becomes peaceful. And he's taken care. You see, the animals are taken care. They don't know that Krishna is taking care of them. They don't have a choice. They just act according to instinct. And they are not even worshipping Krishna. They're still taken care. Why? Because they just abide by the rules of material nature. That's all. They don't do anything. They can't do anything. But because they are in that situation, material nature takes care of them. Krishna in the form of material nature takes care of them. I would, when I was young, much to the anger of my mother, I would play by pouring honey in some parts of the house and having fun watching the ants somehow find it. And because they're always roaming around, they find it. And then, my mother had to clean the mess, but that's her problem. But the thing is that Krishna provides. They're roaming around, somehow they find it. They find their food. How they find it? Prabhupada would also give the example when these rascal scientists say that there is no life in moon, there is no life in Mars, there is no life anywhere in the world, only the only universe only we are surviving. Maybe there's some life, whatever they're speculating that if there's some water somewhere else, maybe there's life. And Prabhupada would give the answer, but he would say when Krishna says, one of the descriptions he gives of the Atma, the living entity is Sarvagata. Sarvagata means he's everywhere. The living entity, Jivatma, is present everywhere, every inch. Look at the bridge or something. Sometimes you will see a small plant sticking out of the bridge. Middle of the bridge. Life is found even there. Even there, somehow, some arrangement, that Jiva had to get life. Krishna makes an arrangement, in the middle of the bridge it comes out. Amazing. So, Krishna's, and therefore, Ishopanishad says, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachale Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. That this world is complete. Everything that we require is there in this world, because this world is a complete emanation of the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore it is complete. The living entities, we are also complete. So, we become disturbed because we forget that actually Krishna is in control of all of these things. But what does Krishna expect from the devotees? He expects Ananya Bhakti. Avyabhicharini, Bhaktir Avyabhicharini. He doesn't like when bhakti is alloyed, it's mixed. That means he doesn't like when if devotees who are he protects his pure devotees, the others he reciprocates to the extent that they worship. For his pure devotees, what are pure devotees? They don't surrender to anybody except Krishna. They don't worship the personalities in this world, big famous movie stars, sports stars. They don't worship demigods. It's different to respect. Respect is different, worship is different. This word worship is called bhajati, bhajanta, which comes from the root bhaj. Bhaj means to worship. That's how bhakta comes, bhakti. All this comes from the word bhajata. So when Krishna says that yo yam tanum bhakta shraddhaya archita vichati, that they worship the different demigods, that bhakta, that devotion, so their devotion to that demigod actually comes from Krishna. He gives them that faith. Because they want material benefits, they go to those demigods. But Krishna says, Tameva vidatamyaha sadhaya shraddhaya yuktas tasya aradhanimiyate labhaje cha tata kama mayaiva vihita nita. The benefits that they get by worshiping the demigods are actually given by me. But avidhi purvakam, they are worshipping him avidhi pur, they are worshipping the demigods avidhi, without understanding. So, we have to respect many personalities. We respect the government of this country. You may respect your boss. You may respect your neighbor. It doesn't mean you put their photo on the altar. We have to try to understand what is respect, what is worship. We respect so many people. We have to respect our parents. Doesn't mean that we will put our parents' photo next to Radha and Krishna on the altar. No. Respect your parents. That's okay. Atithi Devo Bhava. And just because a guest came, you take a photo and put him on your altar. You have to Atithi Devo Bhava. You have to treat the guest like Deva. So you have to wash. Like technically, when guest comes, traditionally they would wash their feet. They would say something sweet to them. You can see how Krishna received Sudama, his friend. But it's a little different. So Krishna, he expects Ananya Bhakti. And that Ananya Bhakti is the sign that somebody has fully accepted Krishna as Bhoktaram Nikita Prasam Sarvaloka Maheshwara. This has to be exhibited. And you see that in Draupadi's example. He wouldn't protect her until she raised both of her arms and said, "Hey Govinda." He wouldn't do it. So many examples are there like this. So, Krishna expects that unalloyed devotional service, and which also means that bhajatam priti purvakam, right? Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. The devotional service has to be rendered favorably. Favorably, in a manner that is pleasing to Krishna, not in a manner that is disturbing. It has to be rendered favorably, which means one has to follow the rules and regulations. One has to follow the four regulative principles. One has to chant Hare Krishna offenselessly, without offenses. One has to chant. One should not be interested in watching cinemas, PlayStation,
Games.
whatever, sports. Exercise, I've heard that. Prabhuji, what about exercise? Do exercise. What is talking about doing exercise? Why play sports? You can go jogging. You can skip. You can jog. You can stretch. You can do some push-ups if you like. And that's all fine. Completely fine. No problem. Maintaining your body. But sports is another thing. It's classified as gambling. Or not, people don't like to talk about that. It's gambling. Why is gambling? Because the mind gets absorbed in some silly competition. And that we don't realize, it gives us there's an adrenaline rush. But when the adrenaline goes away, you get disturbance. The mind will become disturbed. There is no Krishna consciousness when you have adrenaline rushes going on through the body. That means you're just disturbed. Bunch of hormones that are getting secreted. Euphoria, infatuation. So these things are not the sign of a calm devotee. Now I'm thinking, oh my God, things are so boring and so strict. No, but we have to understand that we need this happiness. This is what we are seeking. And that whatever happiness that we are getting by playing cricket or by watching movies or even by having illicit relationships, all that happiness and much more is found in Krishna consciousness. Because everything comes from Krishna. Happiness that you get comes from Krishna. Whatever you get, wherever you get it, comes from Krishna. Krishna experiences a lot more happiness in the spiritual world with his devotees. That is what he is inviting us to. We've got this extremely rare opportunity by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And we should take this up seriously. Yes, we may not be in the perfect platform right now. But if we lose track of the goal and we don't recognize what the goal is, and we become envious of the actual ideal, then we are lost. But we must understand that if we don't perfect ourselves, if we don't rid ourselves of material desires in this life, we have to take birth again. Taking birth again is not fun. This is a very, very important thing to understand. We cannot practice Krishna consciousness seriously if we are not interested in stopping the cycle of conditioned conditioned birth and death. That's the only way to become sincere. How to become sincere? Have a sincere, pure desire, you will become sincere. Desire needs to be pure. Okay, so I'll stop here. If there are any questions or comments or corrections?
Can you please? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when you become a devotee, then you understand it will be 24 hours a day, 7 days. And you'll be working more. Isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
24. Even in your sleep, that must be working because you're thinking, I have to rest my body so that I can work as soon as I get up. The other thing is, now you were saying that materialists says, well, you can't, unless you're suffering, then you can't appreciate being happy. Well, that means if you always, the thing is, if you do the same thing all the time, it becomes then what is this happiness that you're talking about? So how are you going to answer that? The answer is that, and there's a concept in mathematics called monotonically increasing. It means over the course of time, it always increases. So I'm happier today than I was yesterday. And tomorrow, I'll be even happier. That's what the Vaikunthavas feel. That's how the Vrijavas, that they're so happy today, but tomorrow, I'm happier today than I was yesterday. And tomorrow I'll be happier still. So it doesn't get boring. It's never boring. And sometimes we feel devotees get in distress, isn't it? They have problems. Like the Pandavas, they had so many suffering. And Sanatana Goswami explains that Krishna purposely made the Pandavas suffer so that he could have an excuse to go see them. Krishna. It's not just that we love Krishna. Krishna loves his devotees. Really loves. And he loved the Pandavas so much that he was thinking of any way that he could be in their association. Trying to constantly purposely give them problems.
I don't.
Okay.
So Prabhu, I had a question regarding actually more of like your point of view also question. I wanted to know. So in Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is a part where Sanatana Goswami is explaining about how to do a Pancha Samskara Vidi, like the initiation yajna. And in that initiation yajna, he's mentioning that he's beautifully explaining the process of the typical Vedic yajna, where you have to worship the Dikpalas, and then after that you have to also offer ahuti to Ganapati. Now in Vishnu Purana, there is a verse that describes that Vishnu has accepted Ganapati as his nephew. So, and he even says that I really love when someone offers before me, when they offer something to my dear nephew something. But in the relation of a nephew, not as a demigod or something. And even to Lord Shiva, after the Daksha curses Lord Shiva, that he will not receive any homages in the yajna. Especially, I've read in this, I don't remember exactly which scripture is that, but in one of the scriptures, a Vaishnava scripture, where Vishnu says that if you want to, when you offer ahuti to me, one ahuti in my yajna should be given to Lord Shiva. So now, many times people do assume that we are doing demigod worship when we do such kind of things. So in your opinion, when it's a public display of like, ISKCON setup yajna or anything, now if it's ISKCON setup, organization in my point of view cannot have an upper say according to the Vedic standards. So what is your opinion?
In my opinion, has no value, but
what do you suggest?
the thing is, if something is done according to Vedic rituals, we should make sure that it is done purvaiv purvataram kritam. It is done in the way that the predecessor great devotees, sadhus, acharyas have done. And actually, if you see, we have more in common in terms of practice and mood also of worship. We have more similarities with the Sri Vaishnavas than we do with the Madhva Sampradayakas. Even though we are Madhvas, technically, Madhva Gaudiya, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya. But we have more things in common with them. And so one can see they do all these yajnas and everything. Prabhu knows Murali Bhattar and his son Harish Bhattar, and they do all these kind of different yajnas. I am not well versed in yajnas, and if it is determined that such things are there and they are to be done, then they can be done. And it is not considered against the worship of the Supreme Lord. It is not considered demigod worship because it has been done by the previous acharyas, and therefore we should do it. You see, also just like what we also see, for instance, is it's recommended that when we go to the Dham, we should take permission of Gopeshwar Mahadev. And there is nothing wrong with that. But it's another thing if one is worshipping daily puja on the altar of Guru Gauranga and Radha Krishna and all of this, then it's a different thing. You know, it's okay. For instance, it's important. Okay, like Bhakti Vikas Maharaj was saying, we have this Rajapur Jagannath in Mayapur. So there's a Shiv Mandir in Rajapur Jagannath. But Lord Shiva has been in that location before Jagannath even came. So you should do Shivaratri. It should be done. And because we run the temple, we should do Shivaratri also. But it is another thing if Shivaratri becomes an institutionalized practice within our temples. Because Prabhupada didn't have it. He didn't institute it. So we have to do it in accordance. Purve Purvataram Kritam. This is really the standard. All of these things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to every temple in South India, including demigod temples. It's right there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Visited many famous places. Kalahasti is the Kalahasti mentioned.
We went there.
And we go because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went. We go. We offer our obeisances. And yes, when we go to such temples, we pray for the blessings of the demigods so that we can serve and worship Krishna. But we have to understand that there is a statement in the Bhagavatam. Put it up actually. It says Sarvadeva Mayo Guru, but I forgot. The beginning is actually very famous. Acharya ma vijaniya nama manyeta karhichit. No, that's not the verse. Oh yeah, that is the verse. Na buddhya suyeta sarvadeva mayo guru. So Krishna says to Uddhava, Acharya ma vijaniya. Understand the Acharya to be non-different from me. And the last line is what is very important. Sarvadeva mayo guru. That the guru is the representative of all the demigods. The guru is the representative of all the demigods. Which means that if one worships the guru, yes, there is a Bhagavatam verse, Yatataror Mula Nisheshanena Trityati Tatskarta Bhujo Pashaka, that, just as one pours water on the root of the tree, similarly one worships Vishnu, all the demigods becomes. But the guru is so powerful that by worshipping the guru, all the demigods are satisfied. That means who is superior? Guru or demigods? Guru is superior. Srila Prabhupada was once asked if he would go to the heavenly planets to preach. Prabhupada's reply, why should I go? If they want, they can come. That was Prabhupada's reply. So Prabhupada is such a personality. He said the demigod should want to associate with me. Why do I have to go there? And such a personality, Srila Prabhupada, came to the Western countries. He wouldn't go and see the demigods. He came to the Lower East Side, New York, to save the most fallen, to fulfill Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, show Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. This is Srila Prabhupada. This is our acharyas. This is Bhakti Siddhanta. This is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. This is
One day Prabhupada said, How is that? Because Brahma and Narada Muni were to see.
Brahma and Narada Muni would come to see Prabhupada. They would come to hear his lecture. In which hall? Yeah, in Berkeley Place, and then in New York he gave a class. And devotees had poorly advertised the program. There was nobody. I forget that. It's in Midtown. But you all went there, right? When you went to your New York tour, you remember? I remember. Okay, we do. Sometimes we go on New York Tirtha Yatra. There's one Tirtha that is there on this continent. There are many Tirthas. Every place that Prabhupada visited is a Tirtha, but New York, street to street, Prabhupada walked all those streets on the Lower East Side. And there's just so many pastime places of Srila Prabhupada that to cover all the pastime places will take you 2 days. So we call it New York Tirtha Yatra. New York Tirtha Yatra. Prabhupada Tirtha Yatra. So you actually feel going and then you recite all, you talk about all the pastime. It's like actually visiting a holy place, except that you're in the middle of New York, be crossing Times Square and all that. So you had a surreal experience of a Tirtha Yatra. But that's Prabhupada. It's Prabhupada. So this is our acharyas. I'm just making the point that there is no need to show any extra special respect to demigods. We should respect our acharyas.
One of my senior doctors were telling me that the Sri Vaishnavas, they neither respect the demigods, you hear me? They neither, the Sri Vaishnavas neither respect the demigods or just even worship them. Madhwas respect the demigods and they worship them. I'll give you an example. I went to Dharmasthala, which is in the Western Ghats, here in Karnataka. It's a very unusual place. They have a Shiva Linga, which is worshipped by Madhwas, which is, the temple is managed by Jains. So I went there. My Jyotish Guru brought me there. But anyway, I saw these Madhwas, and like the Madhwas was stuck and they're climbing, chandan for the I said, you're Vaishnavas, why are you worshipping him? But she says, we are worshipping him as a Nrsimha Bhakta. When she was a Nrsimha Bhakta, so that's why we're worshipping him. That's not, because what Shiva is, he's the head of one of the sampradayas. The sampradaya. It was a follower of the Buddha sampradaya. Vishnu Swami was my time. Yeah, but Srimati Morarji, she's the one who said she's the one who sent Prabhupada to the West. All the sampradayas, unlike Christian and other religious sects that hate each other and try to kill each other, in India, the Vaishnava sampradayas help each other. So that's one thing. So they neither, and the Gaudiyas, so the one was respect the demigods and worship the demigods. Like Vayu was very big. The Madhvas. Madhvacharya is Vayu. Recognition of Hanuman and Bhima. So Vayu is very big amongst the Madhvas. So, but the Gaudiyas, respect the demigods, we don't worship them. But we respect them. We give them all honor.
Give them respect.
And Sri Prabhupada also taught how you pay respect to them. You go into a demigod temple, a Durga temple, or a Subramanya temple, Sada temple. So we pay from the right side. You go have the, I should say, the left side is facing the deity, the group. For them, you go the other way around.
You go to the right side.
The right side is facing.
You offer obeisances on the right.
Yeah. But we respect them because they're also devotees. They're also devotees. Who took birth? Who's the ones who took birth as the associates of Krishna in Krishna Lila? The Devas,
There it is.
Kent, they're the ones who took birth.
Yeah.
And the Goloka Vrindavan, the personalities, they also have their manifestations in Vaikuntha. And then on the Vaikuntha, then they have manifestations in Deva Loka. So you have Vishvakshena, Satyaki, Vishvakshena, then Ganesh. So you have to be very careful. Do not disrespect the Devas. They're also devotees. If we can respect the chipmunk, we can respect Hindu.
In fact,
Why they get special insults? Highly respected.
in fact, Gokul Chandra Gopalacharya describes how in the Vaikuntha world there are pure devotees who are called Indra, Chandra, Vayu, Surya, like this. The demigods in this world are named after those pure devotees in Vaikuntha planets.
So,
They get their potency from them.
The Dura was Yamaraj.
So Prabhu, yes. Hare Krishna, we're running short of time.
Oh,
So we can take questions later. I'm proposing one thing. Prabhu, I know we don't want to discomfort you, but we would really like to have another home program. Do you agree? All in the agreement?
If they're not already burned down.
No, they have to. Sorry.
The Mahanta
I'm
has
just
spoken.
kidding. No.
Mahanta
Prabhu, if you permit, can we have Wednesday or Tuesday home program evening?
Wednesday, yeah,
Okay, before you leave, can we be on Prabhupada?
on Prabhupada.
Yes.
He sits on Prabhupada.
So both of you.
I'm nobody. He's like, no, really.
Why don't you let him speak up what he wants to speak?
Yeah. Okay.
No. You can tell me something.
I can speak up Krishna.
No, then you speak of whatever you want to speak. We really want to listen from you more. Like,
What I can do is maybe I can pick out sections of the mood and mission.
please, yes, go ahead, do that. And Wednesday we will hopefully have, or Tuesday we'll have little early program. What time? 6 o'clock is good?
Everybody's working.
So 6 o'clock is good with you, Mataji? You have to drive an hour and a half, so.
I think around 6:50.
6:15, okay. So 6:30 we will do, okay? Don't worry about the prasadam. I will take care of prasadam.
His wife.
Okay? No, my wife is on board that day.
Oh, yeah,
But we have other boys, Prabhus, so don't worry, okay? And, okay, so Wednesday, everyone agree?
Yes, bro.
I
6:30?
also want to take this opportunity to kindly thank you. I mean, especially the boys have been taking very nice care of us. Carrying some nice prasadam it's even though we're talking about the ideal, right? The thing is that it's nevertheless quite amazing that all of you all are trying to practice Krishna consciousness so seriously, in spite of all odds, because it's not easy to work a job. I worked a job. I was trying to practice Krishna consciousness. I got so frustrated, I quit my job and joined full time. But I know how frustrating it is because I quit my job and I hated every single day of it. But you're going on, and because you have responsibilities, you have duties, you have to take care of yourselves. At the same time, if we understand the ideal, then we'll understand that someday we can give up these things. Someday, whenever you can pray to Krishna, you can aim for that ideal, and you can strive for that. Because at some point, we should be practicing Krishna consciousness 24 hours. You can do it even now, but in a sense where one dedicates every single minute to Krishna. May not now, but that's why the stage of Vanaprastha is there.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur was.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur, great example. Prabhupada, great example. So we have to keep that spirit so that one day we come to that.
People.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, one small announcement.
One more thing about
Yes.
Devas. Who were the Pandavas?
Devas.
There were all incarnations.
Incarnations of us.
Yes. One small thing. So at Sadhu Sangha, I was proposed to get Mura and the mission for 160 USD. Okay. Today there is a special going on. It's a really special. It's actually a very good special. So all the 3 sets combined are for 308 Canadian. Yes. Okay. Not even USD, Canadian. So please go and dig into the sets, or you can even take one of the sets. Prabhu, how much is the? If someone wants to get just an individual set, can you say how much would it be?
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Bhai Baba is.
Louder.
Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Bhai Baba is 108.
108.
The set of Bhakti Vikas Maharaj's smaller books is 108. And this Buddha mission of Srila Prabhupada individually is about 140.
It's still
Now, I want to say
140.
one thing about the Siddhanta by Bob, that if you want to understand, a lot of people, especially Westerners, have a mixed up, confused about what Srila Prabhupada was trying to do. They think it was like a spray-on version of American, it's like a thin veneer of Vedic culture over American culture, you know. And they think that's some weird ideas, you know.